Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So what I'm going to talk about today are the benefits of a hosted help desk solution. On the agenda, we are going to go over how to improve your technician productivity, how to increase your end user satisfaction, the lower overall costs, automatic software upgrades, and then I will go ahead and do a demonstration of our hosted solution, and then we will have some question and answer at the end if you have any. So first off, the benefits of having a hosted solution, it allows your users and technicians to access the help desk anytime, anywhere, from a mobile device or from any computer they can get in front of. It increases their productivity and reduces their response time so that the end user is then satisfied quicker and can get questions and answers done in a more timely fashion. And it also guarantees 99% uptime of the help desk with redundant servers. As far as the cost goes, when you're running it in the cloud versus doing an on-premise solution, you don't need to maintain a server that might cost your company thousands of dollars a year, and we can just run it here. It also reduces any sort of man hours in managing that server, and it reduces all of the upfront costs as well. When running a hosted solution, you don't have to do any upgrades. All of those upgrades are done with the solution, and you'll just receive an email notification letting you know when those upgrades are going to be done. And so it just gives your technicians more time to work on the things that they need to get done in helping the end user out. So I am going to turn this off, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the help desk solution. Now I'm going to just go ahead and log in as a manager here so that we can see things from both aspects, the manager technician aspect as well as the end user aspect. And so like I said before, with a hosted solution and this being completely web-based, you can just access this from a tablet, a computer, a laptop, a mobile device, just by going to the URL and signing in this way. So what you're seeing here is a technician's view. So you can set up, across the top here, you can set up any sort of different categories or locations or just any way that you want to group your tickets. And so it just makes it a little bit easier for the technician to see all things at once. So this particular one, you're going to see everything that belongs to tech services, and then you can jump right over here to anything that belongs to a certain location. So as far as submitting a ticket, we're just going to go ahead and click on New Ticket here. Now, you can use this hosted solution over more than one group. You can use it right here. You're seeing finance, help desk, human resources, transportation. And so what the end user would do is just go ahead and select a group here. Now, if you're only using it for one group, such as tech services, or let's say your maintenance department is the one utilizing it, and there's only one active group, this will automatically default for that end user, just making it that much easier for them to submit a ticket. And so the contact information, this is going to pull in from your LDAP or whatever. If you go in and set up the users individually, it's going to pull from that as well. You can set a location as far as where this person is at, but we've also made it so that you can select a location in case that person travels from between two different ones. Now, everything right here under the ticket info, this is the part of the help desk that is completely customizable to fit your needs. You can have the end user select a category or a category option, meaning like this is broken down into hardware, and then I can select keyboard. Or you can take these options off so that your end user doesn't have to fill out as much information on the ticket, and you can leave the category and category option as for a technician or a manager to fill that out just for reporting purposes, or if it's something that you don't need, it's not there at all. Now, because I'm signed in as a manager, I can go ahead and pick who I want to assign this to. The end user you can take that away from them. So it's just automatically routed to either a ticket pool where a manager or a technician could assign those out, or it's automatically routed based upon what I selected up here. So if I have a certain technician that only does hardware, I can just auto-route all of the tickets that are categorized that way to that one technician. Now, if you notice when I selected keyboard, I had this question come up at the bottom that says, did you spill Coke on your keyboard again? This is something that we call a custom field. You can add as many custom fields as you want that apply to certain categories, category options, or it can apply just to a location. So this particular one, we're going to select yes or no. And you can make these custom fields required or not required. So again, this entire section of the ticket info is customizable to you. We even have over here the priority. We set it so that everything comes in on a low priority, and because I'm logged in as a manager, I could change that. So these are our fields that your end user wouldn't select because we know that everything would be very urgent to them and it would be at the highest priority. So basically, they would just put in a subject here, any information they need. This subject line is what comes across to the technician, so they can see that right in their email. And so if most of the information is put in there, they don't even have to log into the help desk to view what's going on. But if there is additional information, then it can be placed here in the note. And then if there's any attachments that apply to this, they can upload the attachments as well. So they simply save that, and it will be assigned a ticket number here at the top. And then this would now go out to that technician via email, and if the technician pulls it up via email and decides to respond to it without logging into the help desk, those comments will be placed right in the ticket itself. And the same goes with the end user. So it does make it a little bit easier that way. If they're just working out of their email, they can respond to the technician that way rather than logging in. Speaking of that, we also have an email the ticket feature. So if you do have end users that you don't want them to log in at all, or they don't want to do so, they would rather just send an email, we can set that up to where they just send it to a certain address and it's converted into a ticket and sent to the technician and then logged here in the system itself. So that's how simple it is to enter a ticket. If a technician wants to look at a ticket, it's just as easy as to come in here and find that, and they can come in here and make any adjustments to the ticket. They can change the priority, they can add a comment, and all of those things will be displayed here. And again, all of these are just custom filters that they've set up so that they can view their tickets in the order that they want. So here under one thing to show you real quick on just some filters that you can set up. These filters are ones that you might save and run more than once, or that you might have a report based off of. But they're pretty easy to set up, and there is right here along the side and over here is where you're going to select what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a group. And so I'm basically telling the system that I only want to pull things from this finance group. And then what these columns are here on the right-hand side is how I want that information to be displayed. So it goes from left to right. So priority would be on the far left, and then the group would be on the far right. So if I wanted to view them in a different order, I could just drag and drop. And I can also add additional columns. And so if the modified date is one that I want to view right alongside the created date, I just select modified date, and then I can now just drag that up, and now I see when it was created and when it was modified side by side in the columns. So it's just easier for me to view at a quick glance. So it's really simple to do a search, and this is exactly how you would set up a filter so that you can view all of the information at once. We also have, if you're interested in doing any sort of workflow or any sort of ticket templates, it's actually a really neat feature to the system. If you notice here, under the help desk, we have a few different ones, and they have 2 child tickets, 3 child tickets. These are set to a workflow. So under this free app request, I'm just going to demonstrate this one real quick. over here on the left-hand side, we're going to see that we've come in and set these requests up. So this first one is for the principal to approve, and this free app request that we put in here was for one of our customers that had iPads in a classroom, and so if the teacher wanted to install new apps on these iPads, this is the process that they were going to go through. And so the first one is the principal approve, and then they request the approval, and then the technology app gets downloaded and installed. And so all tickets are set up initially in the template, and then so what will happen is you might need to enter in the contact information, whoever the teacher is, or what the app is that they're requesting, and then you can launch that template. Now this one does have a workflow process, and so you see those tickets that we had in there. Step one is going to be the app request itself, and when that status is set to approved, then it's going to launch the next one. And so the only ticket that needs to be launched is that first one, and when the flow goes through each individual ticket and all are approved, then those tickets will be closed out. And so you don't even have to generate these other ones here. Now you can also do something else. We have this recurrence, and this kind of falls more into maybe some server updates, or our maintenance department. They have to turn the sprinklers on once a year, or the water to the sprinklers, or say they need to change filters every month. It's just something that's going to be occurring all the time. And rather than go in each individual month and set that up, you can just generate the ticket here. And you would come to this recurrence tab, and you're just going to tell it how often you want this to go out. So this one says it needs to go out on the first day of every month, and this is the date that it starts. It's set to end never, just because we can come in here and end it ourselves, or you can set an end date. So if it's something that only goes on for 6 months out of the year, and you only want those generated for that time, you could set an end date. And the way that you can tell that this has been set is this one tells you there is no recurrence, and this one has a recurrence set, but it's not started. And so I would just simply click this play button, and now those are set to go out, and they'll automatically generate to whatever time frame I set it to. So another thing in the help desk is a knowledge base, and this really helps with your end users. Even if you're using an email to ticket feature, they don't even have to log into the help desk to view the knowledge base. And so if you're trying to make it to where they get some self-help and they log on to see maybe how to reset their password on their phone or something like that, you can add in a knowledge base article, and they can turn to that to try to get the help there before calling the help desk or putting in a ticket. And you can also use the knowledge base in another way, and that is within your technicians. You can set up knowledge base articles to be private, and therefore your technicians are the only ones that will see them. So if they're out and about and they need some sort of reference, maybe there's a place you're going to put some drivers for a printer and you store them in your knowledge base, then they can go right to that and download and install that. We do have some reporting features. Again, you would set those up based upon the filter, and so I'm just going to go ahead and edit one of these to show you how that works. But you can group it by a bunch of different options here. The group, the location, category. This particular one is set by technician. It has different ways to order it. Alphabetically is typically the one that most people use. And then you have the report format, PDF, HTML, Excel, CSV. This one's set to HTML. And then you can also set this to go on a certain schedule. So again, this one is set to run weekly. And so these are really good if you want to send them to a manager or a director that needs a status update on what's going on. You can send it to them each week, and they'll just receive an email, and they can open that up and view the report itself. So I think that's kind of just an overview. I'm just showing, how quick and easy it is to set this up. And as far as running it hosted, the nice part is, you don't have to have the servers to run this, and you don't have to manage those servers. We do all of that for you. And if there's any sort of updates, you're always going to have the latest and greatest of the software, and we just send out an email and let you know when it's going to be down, typically on a weekend or at night, and we get it updated for you. And so the next time you log in, you just have the newest versions that are available. So with that being said, if there's any questions, I can go ahead and answer those for you. I don't know, Amy, if anybody's typed in any questions.
I have not seen any questions yet so far, but again, if you do have any questions, go ahead and put those through on the chat or the Q&A. We'll give you just a few minutes just in case you have any questions.
Okay, I don't see any questions coming through, but I'm just going to go ahead and go into a couple other things here. One being the assets. It is more of an asset tracking system rather than an asset management, but you can go ahead and upload things or upload assets from a CSV file so that you don't have to manually add them one at a time. But you can do that as well. Right here, you're seeing a list of all of the assets that have been entered so far. So I will show you the type of information that can be added here. So here we have an asset number, we have what it's named, and these asset types are ones that we've put into the system beforehand as far as all of the ones that we're going to enter or that could be selected here. And you can tell by the red asterisk that these four things are required. And so we need to have a type and a status attached to that. Now, all of this other information is additional information that you can input or upload. So here we've got a location, and then we have, anytime you see EHD in parentheses, that means it's pulling it right from the help desk itself. And so the owner is going to be who this is attached to and who is in the system as a user. And then you have the location here, and then the group that this asset belongs to is the group that we've created in the help desk as tech services, and then the category and category option as well. So you can enter, model number, serial number, all of this information here, and this is just on one tab. This is just on the asset fields. You can come here to accounting information, and you can enter, the purchase order number, the value of it, when its disposal date is up, any of the information that you see here. Under associated tickets, this is where it's going to show tickets that have been attached to this particular asset. So if I come here, let me show you where that is at on the ticket itself. So as a technician, here is a ticket that was entered, and I can come right here where it says asset and click on the magnifying glass. And I can do just a quick search to see what particular, let's see what the problem is here, what particular phone is associated with this. And it's just an easy way to track different devices to see if you're continually having the same problems with them. And maybe that can help in your purchase for the next year, or if you want to purchase that item again. So here I've attached it, and it's just going to put in that asset ID number. But that's where you would attach it on the ticket. Oops. And then when you're in the asset field itself, when I edit an asset and have associated tickets, I can see how many tickets and what has been done on them. Maybe if items are replaced, you know, if the motherboard was replaced and it was under warranty, all of that is attached right here. Under software licenses, I don't think there's any in here, but you can go ahead and add those, and it will keep track of how many licenses you have for each piece of software. And then we have the remote management feature. You would just need to enter the information, and then you could, through the help desk, remote into your end user's computer to help them or to walk them through things. Now these things right here that you're seeing, this Robbins tab, parts, oil changes, these are all things that are custom fields that have been added in addition to the asset fields that come default. So it's just showing you that, you know, you can add in different items that maybe didn't come standard. So this particular one, oil change, we're going to say, yep, we need an oil change on the 28th, and then you can put in the VIN number. And this particular one would pertain to your transportation department, but it's just a way to keep track of those and attach it right to a ticket. So there are some reports or some searching and filtering that you can do from right within the asset. Now, these tabs across the top apply to a ticket. So if I'm going to do a search or create a filter and I want to look for a ticket that's been entered, then that's where I would do it. But if I want to search assets and maybe create a filter or run a report, those are going to be done from within the Assets tab itself. And so if I click here on Reports, the reports that I'm going to have, they're just banked reports that we automatically pull for you, assets by owner, group, a purchasing report, and you can just click on those and it will pull that report up for you. Now as far as searching the assets, we can click here, and you'll notice it's the same search screen, and so the usability, you know, is pretty easy once you've got the ticketing system down. But we have the asset fields here, and so I can select any of these options, and I don't know what data is actually in here to actually run a report. Oh, we'll go with asset number because we know that's in there. I think I saw this one. And so you're just adding it the same way that you would in doing a search for a ticket. And then if we click apply, let's see, oh, there is one. And so here is that option right here. And so again, I mean, it's a way to track your assets by importing them from a CSV file and attaching them to tickets so that you can see what assets apply to which tickets. There was something else I was going to show you, and my mind just went blank here. Oh, I know what it was. As far as a technician goes, there's a neat feature in the help desk that they can mass update a bunch of tickets at once. And so rather than logging into the help desk and having to search through and open each individual ticket to, say, mark them all closed, there's a feature in here that they can just run a filter and do it at once. So I'm just going to run one of these filters that's already set up. And if you notice, I have this button here that says Mass Update, and I have a button here that says Export. Under the Mass Update button, if I select numerous tickets, I can click Mass Update, and these are the options that I can update on each of the tickets that are selected. So if I wanted to close all of these out, I'm going to select Status, and then select Closed, and then save that. And now all of those tickets are closed at the same time. I can also run a filter and export whatever tickets are listed here. And I can export all of them, or I can go through and select some, and I can export it to a PDF or to an Excel file. So it's something that you can run on any information that you have put into the help desk. Even those custom fields that we talked about, those are things that you can search on as well and pull all of that data over. Amy, is there any questions at this point? I think I've kind of covered everything that I can think of.
I am not seeing any questions right now, but just another reminder, if you do have questions, you can put those through on the chat or the Q&A.
Oh, yeah, it looks like, I guess I didn't show you the scheduler. I can go over that really quick as well. Scheduled items is actually another feature of the help desk that saves you a lot of time. Scheduled items are things, if we click here on settings, we have this option called the scheduler, and you can set them up for different groups that you have. I'm hoping there's one set up here. Okay. So we can come in and say we have a resolved to closed. That's this bottom one here. We actually use that internally, and what happens is a ticket is put into our support group, and they have resolved the ticket, and so they will change that status to resolved, and then an email is sent out through the ticketing system to let them know that the ticket has been resolved and to contact us, you know, within 3 days if there's any additional problems or questions that they have. So then we come in and we set up a scheduled task, and we've just named this one resolved to closed, and it's basically saying that when something is in a resolved status, 10 days later from the modified date, so that would be when it was switched to a resolved status, we want it to change it to closed, and it's going to automatically do that for us. And we also would like you to send out this email. And so it's letting the end user know that that ticket has been closed out, but you as the technician has not had to go in there and do that. You simply set it to resolved, you give the end user a certain amount of days, and then it will automatically close it for you. And so you can do this with multiple things. I mean, here we have an SLA, whatever SLAs you have, if tickets need to be looked at or addressed within a certain period of time, like this one at the top says 1 hour first response. So let's see, I'll show you this one. And this one is a little bit more specific rather than just changing a status. This one is saying when it's the category of hardware and the category option of computer. So these are the only tickets that this would particularly apply to. And so when it's hardware and computer and it's set to resolved, then we're going to give it 5 days, and then we're going to automatically close that. And so those are just a few things that you know, you can set up here within the scheduler itself, just to make it easier for the technicians to not have to go in and do all of this updating. It's going to automate it for you. So Amy, I think I will turn it back over to you, and I will be here if there's any questions that do come up that I can answer for anyone.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you.
Again, if you do have any questions, you can put those through on the chat or the Q&A, and if it's after this session, if you think of something, then we will get those questions over to Catherine so that she can get them answered for you. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this session and take about a 25-minute break before our next session gets started at the top of the hour.